The thing that everyone was talking about on Survivor Series from a positive aspect was this match and the men's war games where it was basically storytelling 101. The acceptance of Sami Zayn into the bloodline, him doing whatever it takes to show his allegiance to the bloodline. And it was absolutely great. Everybody loves it. We get the follow-up on Raw this Monday. Kevin Owens, after being turned on by Sami Zayn, is like, dude, I don't even want to be bothered with you. I don't want to ride with you. I don't want to tag with you. I don't even want to wrestle you one-on-one. I just want to be done with you. Like, let's just go separate ways, whatever. And you could see like the remorse in Sami Zayn's face, you know, that like he wants to be accepted by the bloodline, but his best friend's basically saying, dude, F you, I'm out. So this story's far from over. But because of all this, you have people starting to talk. And even before this, they were starting to have the rumbles, but I think they intensified after Survivor Series of Sami Zayn not only winning the Royal Rumble, but beating Roman Reigns at WrestleMania to dethrone the undisputed WWE Universal Champion. Ralph, do you think Sami Zayn should be the one to not only win the Royal Rumble, but dethrone Roman Reigns?
My very short list of people that I would even consider would include him. And I've actually said this for about a month now that, you know, how poetic would it be? It's almost at the point now where it's like, what other story is there to tell? The only other one that even comes to mind is Cody.
Mm-hmm.
Because Cody does have a legitimate storyline in place. He was the guy that was cast away. He was a top guy in AEW. He came back and he's got unfinished business. And that unfinished business, you know, comes at the hands of him potentially beating Roman at WrestleMania, which, does he deserve it for everything he's gone through? Yes, but how do you deny a guy like Sami Zayn? And WWE always finds themselves in these situations. They have a plan. And again, this is why, you know, fans could say whatever they want. We could say whatever we want. A man like a Triple H, a man like a Tony Khan, a guy like a Vince McMahon who is actually making that tough decision come WrestleMania time or a big pay-per-view, when you have to make that call, do I go with what we have planned, aka Batista, or do we go with the guy that's hot and earned it? Daniel Bryan go with the Yes Movement. Kofi Kingston got hot going into WrestleMania. They had to put the belt on him. I know there's rumblings, and I think fans would be satisfied with Kevin Owens and Sami beating the Usos. I think that's a satisfying ending to this, and Cody being the guy to take the title off Roman.
If you're Triple H, what do you go with? Do you go with Sami or do you go with Cody? If those are your only two options.
Right now, I would probably go with Sami Zayn.
Really? Over Cody Rhodes? Is it partly because he hasn't been seen since Hell in a Cell with his torn pec injury?
Well, look, and I'm not even trying to be funny when I say this. Dave Meltzer said this. Things change. No one was going to predict that Stone Cold Steve Austin was going to come out, win the King of the Ring, and start the whole Austin 316 says, I just whooped your ass, blah, blah, the whole thing and so on and predict that he was going to be the biggest star in pro wrestling history. Nobody thought that Rocky Maivia was going to be The Rock. Things like this come about in wrestling. This probably started out as a joke, and it started to work. And Sami started to prove like, hey, you know what, that thing I did with Johnny Knoxville last year? Yeah, I knocked that out of the park, but watch what I'm going to do in this role. And fans are starting to pick up on it. It's starting to get a lot of momentum. And Cody can't do anything about this. It's not like he can get himself over. It's almost like you want to keep Sami out of the Royal Rumble because you're putting yourself in a position where you may screw yourself if you put Cody and Sami in there.
Well, what if you do this? You know, you have Elimination Chamber after Royal Rumble, and that's in Montreal, which is obviously the hometown of Sami Zayn. We don't know what's going to happen with Elimination Chamber because the belts are unified. We never had this situation where the belts are unified. So does Roman Reigns, you know, put one of those titles on the line at Elimination Chamber? Like, what do you do? What's going to be the Elimination Chamber match?
Do that.
Or some people are thinking, you know what? The winner of the Royal Rumble goes for one belt and the winner of the Elimination Chamber goes after the other belt and Roman wrestles both nights.
Unless Roman wins one of the matches night one and then goes into night two and drops both. In my mind, I think he's got to defend both, and you got to have one person beat him. You can't have a guy carry the titles for this long, go unbeaten, only to lose one of the belts or, lose one of the matches or drop both of them. This has the potential to launch either Cody into, hey, I've arrived, I proved all the doubters wrong, or Sami Zayn's going to arrive as like a top tier guy that probably nobody ever envisioned him as being.
The thing that I worry about, and this is the constant problem that we have in wrestling today, the guy that has the thrill of the chase gets what he's chasing. Then what?
Let him lose.
That quick?
You just said it yourself. Some people, the story in all of this is a dominant champion and Sami Zayn being used. The big moment, the pop, the WrestleMania moment is Sami Zayn pinning him. That's the highlight reel. The next night on Raw, a villain like an Austin Theory, a Seth Rollins, a heel Seth Rollins, coming out and beating him for the title after one night, while fans would hate it.
What would that mean for the reign of Roman Reigns? That he goes all this time defending the title and holding it for so long, 2+ years. The guy that he loses to loses it 24 hours later.
That doesn't happen in real life.
Not really.
It doesn't happen in real life. You don't go out, and there aren't people that go out and like hit Powerball or hit Lotto and die the next day of a heart attack. Like shit like this happens all
the odds of that happening are so slim though.
But it happens. And Sami Zayn is the guy that you never, and look, you could even do the thing where you got Kevin Owens who comes out and helps him win that title.
Yes.
Like it doesn't have to be a clean win.
No, it doesn't.
The moment you want are the fans going ape shit for Sami Zayn winning that title at WrestleMania over Roman. And then you just transition into a new story, and the characters have different depths to their personality, and it's just all a new this is fictional, people.
No,
this
I understand.
Fiction. It's
I
not
understand
a real
that.
sport.
I understand that, but that's what I'm saying is what's the next story? What comes next for Sami Zayn? I think it's easier to write Cody's path after beating Roman than it is Sami's path after beating Roman.
Well, it is, and I'm just suggesting this. All I'm suggesting is the fact that, like, look, Roman drops the title, whoever it's to. He's got to drop that title, and you got to think he's probably taking some time off. You're losing your top guy, you're losing your top heel.
Mm-hmm.
Assuming Sami Zayn's the guy that takes the title off him, if he goes out there on Raw, whether it's after a week, one day, however long, and drops the title in a short title, because I think we could probably all agree, I don't think anybody's going to view Sami Zayn as a dominant champion. It probably would be a shorter title reign. So if you need to build up a new heel, Seth, Theory, whoever, what better way to build that heel up than beating the most over babyface in quick fashion?
I mean, WWE right now probably is heel heavy. Honestly, I think it does come down to just Cody and Sami Zayn. I still think Cody is the one they go with.
I don't think there's a wrong answer. It comes down, I tell you what, I don't think the right answer is The Rock.
At this point, do we even go that route of Roman versus The Rock? I know that's the big money match. From a business aspect, if The Rock is available, you got to book Roman versus Rock. But from a future business aspect and trying to build the future WWE, would it be better off saying, Rock, you know what? Thanks, but no thanks. But that's a huge gamble if that's a swing and a miss too.
Who do you want to please? Do you want to please the hardcore wrestling fan base who would probably go for even if you're an AEW fan who wants to pretend Cody was never really as good, which is bullshit. I just feel like Rock's been gone for so long that I almost feel like they'd boo him. I don't know. I just think it would be weird because we've seen how upset fans can get when they don't get what they feel they should get. Like when they didn't get Bryan Danielson and Batista came back and won. That wasn't good for Batista. Now, when Batista came back after and was the heel against Triple H, it was totally different. Mm-hmm. They actually cheered him. Everything in perspective, I don't know if The Rock's the right call.
Right. Well, I mean, we bring up Sami Zayn and what he's been doing with the Bloodline. It's been great. But I do have to ask a question because it was brought up by someone in our Babel section, Ralph, and wanted to get your take on this because they specifically asked for you to answer this. So for those that want to ask any questions for us on the Squared Circle Psychobabble, use the hashtag AskSCPB on Facebook, Instagram, or Twitter, or look for our posts on the community page on our YouTube channel as well. It comes from Ryan Davis, and he asks, do you think Jim Cornette would say he enjoys and improves if the Blackpool Combat Club broke character in the ring and started laughing at each other during a promo, like the Bloodline do with Sami Zayn, or if Little Bow Wow dove onto a table during a pay-per-view world title match while taking a video for his website? Just curious.
If it was like Bryan Danielson or Cesaro, Castagnoli, whatever you want to call him, if they broke character and started to laugh because somebody did or said something, I think he'd be okay with it. If it was Moxley, no, not a chance. He is not a Plumber Moxley fan.
Right.
If it was Wheeler Yuta, no. I think he obviously has his guys that he favors in AEW. That's pretty evident, especially if you pay attention and listen to his podcast on a frequent basis. So if it was one of those guys and the segment actually delivered and was, delivered in a way that like a guy like Sami Zayn is capable of delivering, then I guess he'd be okay with it. Let's be honest, Bow Wow is not Logan Paul. He's not at that level of athleticism. If you do the exact same thing with Bow Wow and Logan Paul, it loses it just based on it doesn't pass the eye test. You saw Bow Wow on AEW this past week. I mean, the guy looked like he was 40 pounds overweight, well past his prime. My wife told me he's broke, which I don't know. I would think he's probably got more money than I, but
he just
he's
came
not
off
an
a world
celebrity.
tour. How can he be broke?
I don't know the last time I've heard a Bow Wow song on the radio, but
Me
I know
either,
Logan
but-
Paul's a top tier YouTuber.
Yeah, but I also never heard Bad Bunny on the radio. That doesn't mean that he's not rich or popular or whatever either.
You've never, oh my God, you haven't listened to the radio in a long time then.
Well, I listen to either sports talk radio or classic rock radio, so you're not going to hear
Well, there
Bad
you
Bunny
go.
on either of those formats. Just to
There
go
you
with my
go.
point, just because you haven't heard him doesn't mean it's not exist. Is what my point is. What I'm
Bow
trying to
Wow,
say.
Bow Wow wouldn't be capable of doing what Logan Paul did from an athletic
Well, you
standpoint.
don't know
Now,
that.
when he was,
You haven't seen him in the wrestling ring yet. You're just going by what he looks like because he's got like a big puffy jacket and a hood over his head.
okay, maybe. I don't think Jim Cornette liked the spot when Logan Paul did it. I actually wasn't the biggest fan of that myself.
I went back to listen to see what he said, and basically Cornette's thought was it made sense, and he wasn't really too much of a fan of it, but he also did point out we're kind of liking it just because we're so accustomed to what happens in AEW. Is basically what his comment was. So he kind of had to throw like a biased jab at AEW for the comment. But the thing that I wanted to look at, because there's kind of a situation like that with Blackpool Combat Club and breaking character per se, is when Regal does commentary and he's flirting with Excalibur. They're trying to break Taz's character per se. And like, I've never seen a clip of Cornette commenting on those. And if it's where he has a problem with Regal doing that, but doesn't have a problem with Sami Zayn doing what he does and breaking character of the Bloodline, that's absolutely bias. That's hypocrisy.
Yep.
To me, I think they're both freaking hilarious. I have no problem with either one. Do I have a problem with Bow Wow doing a dive with the phone or whatever? I have no problem with the actual spot itself. It's all about context and execution. If it makes sense for the match, it made sense for Logan Paul to do that, given his background as a YouTuber and trying to make Roman Reigns go viral. It made sense in that match, right? If MJF did it in a world title match with no context whatsoever, it just makes it feel like they're taking a jab at Logan Paul and WWE. It makes no sense. It's all about context and execution. If the context made sense and the splash looked like crap, I'd bash the execution of it. Not the fact that they did it, just the fact that they did it shitty would be my gripe on it. So I don't know if I agree, if I would have the same thought process as Cornette in this regard, because I think as you pointed out, I think he has his prejudice to certain wrestlers, given whether their background in the indie scene or their style of wrestling or whatever the case may be. Perhaps it is even, in fact, what promotion they work for, because I know some people do have those said prejudices. Me personally, I know what I like and dislike, regardless of the 3 letters that are producing the show. And if it's good, it's good. If it sucks, it sucks. Doesn't matter who's booking the damn show. Vince McMahon could be booking the same shit as Tony Khan does in AEW, and it's shit regardless. That's my point. And I think that if Cornette wants to be a hypocrite, cool, be a hypocrite. But I ain't gonna be one.